So recently, Austan Evans got to take apart one of the new lighter PlayStation 5s, take a look inside, and what he found has set the internet on fire. Before I get into why it set the internet on fire, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when these videos go live. So basically what happened is Austan Evans did this teardown, and the final conclusion was that the new PlayStation 5 is worse. Now, of course, PlayStation fanboys will be like, well, how could it be worse? Jeff Grubb also pointed out that maybe it's not that bad. Let's talk about what Austan Evans found, because I actually find this to be sort of a gray area. I don't know that it's as bad as people are making out, but I just want to share with you all of the information quick. I actually am reshooting this video because my initial reaction was, this isn't that big of a deal, but reading what Austan has said, reading what Jeff has said, seeing the internet reaction, it's kind of given me pause to think about it a little bit more. So basically, the new lighter, the 300-gram lighter PlayStation 5, is being labeled by Austan Evans as worse than the original, the launch PlayStation 5. The new one has a brand new fan. It looks a little different. It actually runs a little bit quieter. It has the new screw with the ribbed edges. 300 grams lighter. It does run up to 5 degrees hotter, 5 degrees being the maximum temperature. It has a lighter solid state drive plate. And Austan Evans even points out, on a more positive note, that after a year of data from what he calls an over-engineered heatsink, they likely determined that this heatsink will be fine for the console. The heatsink has a 0.6 pounds difference between the two. And he also noted that the Wi-Fi wires were different, but this is just a base analysis of the internal components of the console. So the internet, and I saw this retweeted by MBG, a lot of people are saying, well, hey, if the heat runs out of the console a little bit hotter, doesn't that mean better heat dissipation? And initially, I thought that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, maybe it's dissipating heat better. So I went to the YouTube video after that, and I watched Austan Evans, his whole teardown, and here's what he said about it. The internet has hypothesized that this can mean better heat dissipation. Oh, that was my notes. Here's what Austan Evans responded to with his pinned comment. A couple people mentioning higher exhaust temps could mean the cooler is doing a better job dissipating heat. The thing is, Sony removed a sizable amount of the heatsink on this new model, and if you look at his video, it is significantly smaller than the old one. With fewer fins and smaller heat pipes, it simply isn't as efficient at moving the heat out of the console. Think about it as if it were a PC. If I remove a large CPU heatsink in favor of a smaller one, the exhaust coming off my system would be hotter, as the overall system temps are higher since the weaker cooler can't cope. That's exactly what's going on here, in my opinion. But remember, Austan Evans also said earlier that Sony has a year of data of the launch PlayStation 5s, right? He even says that he believes they over-engineered the heatsink, and they likely determined that this heatsink will be fine for the console. A difference of 5 degrees heat doesn't seem like that big of a deal, right? Now, do I think it's a little bit overblown? Yes, but again, Austan also pointed out something else that gave me pause and made me realize maybe this could have an effect later. So a 5-degree heat difference isn't that big of a deal. And I honestly think, I don't think this is Sony trying to turn a quick buck. I think this is Sony dealing with component shortages, trying to come to a solution by eliminating items like copper, which are rare and hard to find right now, and saying, we've tested this, the 5-degree heat difference does not make that much of a difference to the longevity of the console, to how games are played. Let's ship it. They have a very clear goal of shipping more PlayStation 5s in the next year. They have a very, I can't remember what the target was, but it's something like 15 million. I don't remember. So I'm not even going to try and guess it right now. But it is a lofty goal of ship PlayStation 5s. Could they be cutting the corners? Yes, but I don't think that they would. They have very clearly held a lot of pride about the PlayStation 5 console and their games that they're developing for the console. Those are very important to them. And in my experience, Sony doesn't just go out of their way to make an inferior product, especially when talking about their consoles. I have a PlayStation 3 sitting over there that still works. I've had it since launch day, so there's that to consider, right? I don't know what else to say in that respect, but I just feel like, yes, it's using different components. It has the lighter SSD tray. It has a different fan. It's running quieter as a positive note and maybe a little bit hotter, which my only concern there would be running hotter can sometimes impact the performance of your games. If you look at, all these different cooling options that PC gamers have, oftentimes cooling is one of their key requirements for running their games better. So I think what happened is, I think Sony ran to a point where they're like, copper's super expensive right now. We want to sell these things at a profit, and they are at this point. They've made that very clear. Austin points that out in his video also. And we have this option to run this console. I don't think they're trying to like pull a fast one. That would be disastrous for them down the line. But I do think that we should be looking at this a lot closer, figuring out how much hotter those internal components run, and then making the determination further down the line. Like if in 3 months these things are super overheating and games are running like trash, then yes, that is the time that we should take them to task. But right now, with a 5-degree heat difference, it's kind of like, okay, how much of an impact is that actually going to have? And that's something that we're just going to have to discover over time. So Jeff Grubb sort of wrote about it, and he says he doesn't think it's that big of a deal. He pointed out that the materials used are in abundant supply. He's right. And you know what that means at the end of the day? That's the point I was getting to, by the way. You know what that means at the end of the day? More components means more PlayStation 5s in the market. And to me, that seems like it could be good for everyone, especially gamers who have struggled to get a PlayStation 5. So what you're sort of left with is everybody is going to have more access to PlayStation 5s. PlayStation 5s are going to be more readily available, but Sony has had to make adjustments to the build of the console that over time could potentially have an effect on how games are played. How do you feel about that? Do you think this is something you're worried about? For me, as a consumer, I would be like, well, I definitely want to launch PlayStation 5. But am I that concerned about a 5-degree difference? Personally, not too much until I start hearing stories of it negatively impacting your gameplay experience. If this has no impact on games, who cares? Honestly, like, I think it's very sensitive right now because people want to make sure that they're getting the definitive experience when they buy a PlayStation console. And now there's worry and doubt that they might not be getting that, right? I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Let me know in the comments below. If you like these sort of videos, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I'm glad I re-recorded this one because a lot of interesting stuff happened like right after I recorded the last one. So thank you for watching. If you like these, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. If you would like to become a member, memberships are turned on. Thank you so much to everybody who has become a member. If you would like to buy merch, the merch store is open. Thank you to everybody who has supported this channel in any way, subscribing, watching, becoming a member. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to get out of here. I want to read your comments. See you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.